Hello, and welcome to episode 20 of Columbus Local Podcast. I am Len D'Amico, and today we have Aaron Buckley.
Hey, y'all.
Aaron, how are you doing?
Good, man. I'm doing good.
I love it. So, Aaron is, you're based in Columbus, Ohio.
Yep, based out of Columbus.
And you, how long you been in Columbus?
I've been in Columbus for, I'd say 34 years, 35, something like that. Moved here when I was like 8. No, I guess it'd be more than like 30 years. Something like that.
Yeah, so you're kind of a native these days.
I'm a 30-year native of Columbus.
Well, Aaron, we see you all over. You're obviously a entrepreneur, and you produce your own music.
We write our own music, play our own melodies to the music. But the production aspect of it, man, we kind of, if it needs a little push in the right direction, we let those guys at the studio, kind of give us
do the heavy lifting.
Yeah, kind of give us a little bit of pointers. They see it every day. We don't, and we want to make the best product that we can when we get out of there. So it's all ears. We're always up to discussion with that. What comes next? What's going to go after this? What we should put here, what we should take out. That's more the production side of it. We just give it to them raw.
Yeah, that's cool. And you produce your own music. Excuse me, from a standpoint of the artistic aspect, and you write the songs. You're a guitar player, I know. Mm-hmm. What else? What other instruments do you play?
I don't really play other instruments per se, but I do shoot a lot of nail guns. And they got a distinct sound, I can almost tell what kind of gauge it is,
Well, the finishing nail gun is a little different than
the framer. Yeah. Oh man, they're all battery powered now too, so no more air compressors.
Yeah, that's a big change, isn't it?
Huge change. Wow. Huge change. One less step in the process.
Well, good for you though. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So musically, I've seen you solo, but I know you have more than that. What do you have going on currently?
Currently, I've played with a couple of different bands, one being my cousin's country band. They're called Buckshot, and it's just a group of good old boys. They've always picked music together. They do a lot of wholesome, fun stuff, that you don't get to do every day. I play a lot of solo stuff, so when I do get the opportunity to play with the band, it's going to be with a group that's going to be fun. I always want to bring the most fun out of it. And we play a lot down at Tavern 62. Our next couple of gigs that are coming up, one is, they're both bike nights. One will be September 13th at Tavern 62. And then the next one will be October 11th, all on Wednesdays.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, all on Wednesdays.
Yeah, so, and it's 2023, just to date this. So, this will get published today.
Yep,
so
they're all
we got
2023.
time to catch those shows.
Yes, there's still time, plenty of time to come out there and check those guys out. And like I said, if you want to see a band having a good time, that's the one to go see.
Absolutely.
We have such a damn good time. And the camaraderie is all there. The music is all there. And, of course, the good old-fashioned backslapping, beer drinking, get down. Is always, that aspect of it is always there.
That's a given.
Yeah, that's a given. I wouldn't go unless that was there.
That's
for sure.
Sweet. Aaron, how would you describe the type of music? Is it Americana? Is it
with that band there? That'd be old school country. That's all cover stuff. We do very, very minimal original music. Now, when it comes to solo stuff, or even my original band stuff, it's really hard to put your finger on what it is. You could say it sounds like country, but it sounds like kind of bluesy, and it has a rock aspect to it. So what would you call that? What do you put your finger on as what that is? Do you draw circles in each one of those, and then however the lines intersect? Is that how you say what that is? I don't know.
That's probably why I'm drawn to your music, Aaron, is because what you just described is unique, and you kind of have your own slice of what you just call Aaron Buckley tunes.
Yeah. And I kind of pull from pull from stuff that inspires me, stuff that, because you're not going to come up with something that somebody hasn't ever heard before. It's all been done in some way or another. They just call it whatever. But I pull from my influences as far as my, I listen to a lot of different stuff, not just country or bluegrass or old Skinner stuff, or that's the stuff that I really like, but I'll listen to everything and kind of take out of it what I will and put that into my own influence into the stuff that we write. So that's kind of how we're able to capitalize on never being under one specific genre.
Yeah.
You kind of flirt with a little bit of everything. That kind of would broaden the horizon of your listener, really. Somebody likes a little bit of that. I've heard a lot of people say, man, I'm not a really big country fan, but you're good. I like that. And it's not really, you don't have to come out there with a cowboy hat and
be something that you're not.
Yeah, and try to
naturally, expressing.
Right.
You are definitely yourself. There's no question about it.
Yeah. I can't be anybody else. That's not how I get down.
That's cool, man. You're a genuine person.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, it's cool.
I appreciate it. Well, let's talk a little about your podcast. That's what I want to know. I told him, I said, Lynn, I've never been on a podcast. What do I bring to a podcast? Do I bring, what do I do? And he said, buddy, just come on over here. We're going to talk about you for a couple hours. Holy cow. So
it's all about you. It's all about the guest, man. Sometimes a guest will squeeze something out of me, but then I try to, turn the spotlight back.
20th episode. Let's hear something good on the 20th episode.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking you're going to have some good stuff.
Oh, well, I've got some stories.
You're not a guy that just lays down. Right?
No.
But before we get to some of that, I think it would be interesting to know kind of where you're from originally. Where'd you grow up? And how'd you get involved in music?
Southern Ohio boy. Mm-hmm. We moved up to Grove City. I'm thinking I was like third or fourth grade. Do you ever really have a memory when you're in like third or fourth grade? You can tie your shoes, but you don't really remember your address. That kind of shit.
I don't remember my phone number. I don't remember anything. I had two brothers. They were brutal.
Yeah. I was the middle child. So
I was the oldest.
You got the...
So I just had noise.
Southern Ohio, moved to Grove City, and my family had a big part of me catching that musical bug. Nobody in my family really was musical. They didn't play. Nobody played drums or guitar, bass, so I never really saw it. Like younger kids grow up being around it all the time. They see it all the time, so it's almost like it was there when they wanted to, that kind of thing. I always knew that I wanted to. I always liked to sing. I would sing along with the radio. And my aunt actually gave me this Walkman tape player. And I remember it had Garth Brooks, one of his records in it that had on Papa Love Mama. That was like the hit song on it, man. And I wore that thing out. I didn't even care if people could hear me. I knew people could hear me, and I still didn't care. I put them bad boys on, and I'd walk down the street and jam to, that summer, being 11, 12 years old, and didn't care.
Wore it out.
Yeah, so that was when I kind of, and a lot of them always knew that I wanted to sing. Not really that I wanted to sing, but I just did. And about, I don't know, when I was 12 or 13, my aunt, I begged her. I was like, man, I either want one of two things. I want a new shotgun, or I want a new guitar. And my dad was like, okay, you're getting a new guitar. We got plenty of shotguns. And she came through the door with that thing, and she showed up with just like the stand and a strap and like a couple of picks and like this beginner to guitar 6-string book, and had it sitting under the Christmas tree. And then when she came out for Christmas, she gave me some big bullshit story like, man, we couldn't get the guitar that you wanted, but we got all the rest of the stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, it's cool. I can just. So I started
mow some lawns and
I don't know what we could do. And then, of course, after everybody got done opening their stuff, they brought out this guitar. I was like, oh my gosh. I think I even like slept with that thing that night, man. It was like one of those, like, I held on to it and never let it go.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so she's the one that was responsible for getting me my first guitar. And really how it all came to be, and me and my brother and the kids that we went to school with, they would all kind of congregate at our house and party at our house. And, man, it just started out like a couple of chords and just making fun of somebody, putting it all together and playing and singing at the same time. And at the same time still trying to learn songs and play the right, play the right song and then sing it on top of that like somebody else did. It took me a really long time to be able to put those two together and make it so it was effortless. It wasn't such a struggle. And I could tell when I was struggling putting that stuff together on a song, or I would get through halfway through a song, I would stop, and I would and being in front of people, that kind of starts your stage presence. If you get stage fright, or if you're really looking out there and a couple of people are looking at you, you're like, oh God, I could not get through the song. I think that's a lot of people say that I have a big stage presence. I think that was a lot of it, was being so embarrassed or so kind of humiliated. And really, in all reality, looking back at it now, none of them could play guitar and sing. They were just kind of poke fun at me, and I kind of took it on the chin and just kind of let that be a part of it, let that be a part of it. Being, even if I do now, if I miss a chord or can't remember lyrics or something like that, I'm like, I always think back, they can't do what we're up here doing either. So that's why they're here to see us. If I mess up,
you're seasoned, and it just works in.
Yeah. It kind of gets easier as you go.
Yeah.
But as far as stage stuff like that, back then I had no idea what it was even going to be like. I had absolutely no clue. And in all reality, looking back at it, it's just kind of like sitting around in a room with all your buddies and your brother and whoever, and a couple of the girls are there. It's the exact same thing going out and playing at a bar as it would be playing at, in your basement in your house.
Yeah. Bonfire in the backyard.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how it feels at a Aaron Buckley show when you're solo. I haven't seen your full band though. I haven't seen you play in a band.
October the 8th, we are playing at a benefit for a couple of kids that are pretty worse for wear when it comes to health wise. And, in order for them to get the treatments that they're going to be able to get, we're going to go out there and donate a lot of our time and our efforts, especially our musical talents, on October the 8th down in Washington Courthouse. And if you guys check out my Facebook page, my band page, we'll have all that posted on all the details and the times and what's going to be there, who's all going to be there and all that. But I would really like for you guys to come down and check that out.
Yeah, that'd be definitely on our plate. If neither one of us has a gig, we definitely try to get around and see other people
Yes.
play and support our fellow bandmates and
fellow pickers, fellow bandmates.
That's right.
And that's what we were kind of hitting around about earlier. We're sitting at the table talking, and a part of me musically, first and foremost, above anything, is that I'm a fan of music. I'm a huge fan of music. And if I wasn't out there playing or doing it, you're damn right, I'd be out watching somebody else or going out to see somebody else, somebody I've never seen before, somebody I've been wanting to see. I'm always out looking for somebody that's got that it factor that, it's like, wow, that's cool. Especially as a solo guy, going out and seeing other people that go out and do solo stuff or even duo stuff or even trio stuff. there's one person in that band or whatever in that crew that sticks out in your mind, and you're like, wow, that's that's what I'm out here to do. That's what I'm out here to see.
Absolutely. And I have a small list I can share with you, when we're done with this episode. Some recommendations I have, for you to check out. There's just some great, great, great local music out here. And not so local. Some of these folks are big.
Big time, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, and what does, I wouldn't care if they were big time or not. I like to see the guys that go out and still do it.
As do I. Absolutely.
That fame thing, I think, kind of clouds what we're actually out there to do.
Yep.
And that's a shame, but that's just my opinion.
So chronologically, you were from Southern Ohio, is that right?
Down by Southern Ohio, Wilkesville.
And then you moved into which area? Grove City.
Yep, we moved to Grove City, and then we stayed out there for a few years, and then ended up ultimately on the west side of Columbus, in a good area, the good old west side.
Yeah.
Went to Pleasant View Middle School, and when I was in high school, they had these split sessions, which was crazy. They would have one group of kids go at like 5 o'clock in the morning, get off at 1, and then I would literally like pass my brother on the bus. We'd be getting dropped off, he'd be getting picked up, and going to school from like 1 to 5. It was very strange. So where we lived at the time was actually zoned for Franklin Heights. So my brother was a senior, and he got to stay there at that school. I was a sophomore, and they took me from Westland and went over to Franklin Heights. But it was kind of cool because all the kids in the neighborhood all went to Franklin Heights anyways, and we all knew them. And graduated from there, and went off and was playing music literally right out of high school. It was how I got my start going out and actually playing a lot was in a gospel band. I played for a guy and wrote a lot of songs for a guy named Larry Wilson. He's from the West Side, lives there on the West Side now. And he had this little band called God's Country Band, and played with a few really, really good friends, a couple of guys I used to fish with. One of them was a mandolin player, bass player, and he ended up playing mandolin. He started out playing rhythm guitar, and I kind of took his job so he could play mandolin. And then we got another piano player named Sam. We had several different bass players coming in and out of there. One that really sticks out to me is a guy named Tim Lamb, and he was a local musician for a long time in a lot of bands, and we got to play a lot with him. And a guy drummer was Jamie Pickrell, and he was always such a good big smile on his face, drummer.
Having a good time, drummer.
Yes, all the time. You could stub that guy's toe and he'd still be smiling, if he was playing his drums. But we started out with him and played with that guy for a long time, for a couple of years, and then ended up just kind of splitting away and doing my own thing. I was probably 22, 23 years old, and started a group, the Aaron Buckley Band, and it just rolled on from there.
And is it still intact?
Yeah, actually, some of the original guys that were in the very first time, I piled them all in my van and threw all their shit. I was like, get your guitars, grab a couple pairs of clothes, get in the van. We're going to Nashville. I still am playing with those guys on October the 8th. Bass player the bass player is actually going to play guitar. The bass player that was playing down there in Nashville with us is going to be playing with us, Nate Varner. It was an absolute sweetheart of a person and an amazing musician. And then Harold Towns is going to be playing drums and running sound for us.
Really cool.
Down there. Yeah, and I wish you guys could really see those guys. I mean, I don't know if you've ever run around and seen DJ, but DJ Washington is one of the most down-to-earth, humble, super-duper direct and to the point musically, and can do anything musically that he wants to do. And he really is one of the best people, that I know. And he's still sticking around, still still out there playing. I mean, those him and Mike twice. One time we were supposed to play at Ohio Bike Week in Lake Erie, and I had run off with did what I was doing that night, and they came over the next day and they had found me from my phone location. This was like back before any of the phone location thing. They lost my iPhone. That was like new at the time. I think I had like an iPhone 8, and they found my location, came back and picked me up, threw me in the van, and then we drove straight up to Sandusky and played Ohio Bike Week that night. We actually made it, but we had 2 gigs. That was what it was. We had to go to we had to stop at the Harley dealership and play at Mad River Harley for a couple hours, and then after we got done playing at the Harley dealership, we went down and played on the main drag there at the Barrel House for Bike Week.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I wish you could get DJ in here and do a couple of podcasts. And I'm sure he's got some stories that I completely forgot about.
Oh well, sure, man. Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, I've got 1 to 3 episodes booked through like January of next year. Mm-hmm. So
1 to 3
nonstop. It's nonstop.
That's good. Are you ready for a beer?
Sure.
Attaboy.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Aaron, appreciate you bringing some pregame material. Busch Light, that's a good beer, man.
It's smooth.
How long you been drinking Busch Light?
Man, you know what? I kind of switch it up. In the summertime, I'll do Busch Light because you can drink 30 of them and still not feel like you've drank 30 of them. So in the wintertime, when it's a little colder, you're kind of forced inside. I normally drink like a heavier beer, like Budweiser or something like that, in the winter.
Still American though.
Still American so far, but
Ohio.
yeah, old Busch Light.
Ohio
Yeah,
brewed.
Ohio. Is it really? Oh yeah, it is.
I think Busch is actually. I think up here at
270 yeah.
and 71. Mm-hmm. They used to. Do you remember in Columbus when they had Buffalo in that field?
They had all kind of exotic
all
stuff in
kind
there.
of stuff going on.
Yeah, that was neat. I remember that Busch Boulevard.
Oh yeah. Yep. So back to your music though, man. You went to Nashville. How did that go for you guys?
It really really well. Nothing bad ever really happened, but a lot of good things happened. We met so many good people just by going down there, and I think just for I don't know what it is about like the atmosphere down there, whatever, or what they have preconceived before they think they're going to go to Nashville. I do believe that if you're from Iowa and you go down to Nashville and you see somebody playing on one of them stages on Broadway, you think that it's like, ooh, that maybe there's going to be some great big star someday. And really, that's not what I was after. I wasn't after that at all. I was just traveling the avenue that I was presented. So the people that we knew said, hey, come down here and check this out. And one of the very first times I ever went down there and played, a friend of mine, Dusty, jumped in the truck with me and we drove down. And I met with John Taylor. And this was before Tootsie's was all redone. This was the old school Tootsie's. And it literally had like a half of a door that was upstairs to it. And I went downstairs and Scott was on stage. He said, go over there and talk to John, see where he wants to put you. So I ran upstairs and I walk into an office, and this was the very first time I was ever going to play guitar in Nashville, sit on a stage ever. I was really nervous, which I don't ever really get nervous, but I was like, oh man, this is like the big time,
Naturally, I mean,
I thought it was something that was,
it's special.
Yes, it was
Not
definitely.
everybody's doing that.
Yeah, so I walked up there, and there was this Mexican dude sitting on this side, and John Taylor sitting on that side. It was 2 desks kind of facing each other, and it was nothing but piles of money all over the tables, and they were back there counting money, and this is at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And he said, boy, what are you doing up here? I said, Scott Collier told me to come up here and ask where do I go? Where do I play at? He said, go ahead and play out back. He said, I'll be back down there to see you in a minute. He said, whoever's playing down there, tell them you're on. I said, okay. So
kick him off the stage?
I literally went down there, and he was ending. Thank God I didn't have to say, like, hey, man, get off my turf, because this is my turn, whatever. Yeah. It was really cool. The guy was like,
that way.
And it was, like I said, 2:00 in the afternoon. This guy probably had been playing since 11, so I'm sure he was, ready for a break. I got up there, and I sat from 2:00, and I remember this. It was crazy because my buddy Dusty doesn't normally drink a lot. He doesn't drink hardly at all. And there was this really good-looking bartender over in the corner. And I remember starting at 2:00 and playing and never really took a break. I was talking to people, doing requests. Some people would come up and ask for a request, and I would do it if I could. But I remember at like 7:00 at night, looking over, and I see Dusty with his head in his hand, like sitting at the bar because he kept drinking, taking shots. This girl at the bar was like upselling him, So by the time we got out of there, I was like, damn, Dusty, I think I played from like 2:00 to 8:00, 7:30 or something like that, which is like 5.5 hours. It's crazy. So, and I was waiting for the dude to come down, tell me.
Never did.
Yeah, he finally shows up at like 8:00, and he was like, damn, you still up here? And I'm like, yeah, dude, you told me to come over here to play. I'm still playing. He was like, well, I like your attitude. He said, why don't you come down tomorrow morning? He said, meet me down at Rippy's, which is across the street from Tootsie's. I said, okay. So I show up there, 10:45 with my gear, got my guitar. Dusty's out there drinking coffee, getting rid of his hangover. And here he comes. He walked out of his little office door at Tootsie's right across the street, and he said, Mr. Buckley, I'm going to have you up here today. And at 2:00, somebody else is going to come and get you. So you don't play any further than 2:00. I said, okay, that's fine with me. So I played until 2:00. Here he comes, walking through the front door. And he said, hey, Mr. Buckley, we're going to bring you back here. Come on. I literally went from the front stage at Rippy's around the corner to the back stage at Rippy's, and you can see it through the glass. Somebody else sat here, and I played for another 4 hours. And then after that, anytime I would go down there, I would call John directly. I would say, hey, John, I'm coming to town. Yeah, he'd say, all right, I'll put you up here for a week.
Oh, dude, that's freaking awesome.
So we would get, we would have to find our own place to stay and stuff, but I would bring the whole band down. Wouldn't have to hire any other pickers out of Nashville. So it wasn't like I was hiring somebody that was going to charge me $100 a gig or charge me whatever. It was whatever we made is what we made.
No, were you running your own sound?
No, they have their own sound
built in. Okay.
Yeah, they'll have a drum like backline. So basically, all you do is bring in
plug in.
Yeah, nice. DI box. I bring a cable with DI box and my own microphone because God knows what's been going on with those.
What's going on that?
Yeah, and who's been talking through it and whatever. So
what kind of liquids spraying all over the place? Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, I'd rather just bring my own. And it just kind of snowballed from there. So we would come back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And that's what we would do. We'd get off of work on, Thursday evening. Some of us would get off late, and we'd literally have to wait for everybody to get there. And we'd jump in the van. We'd drive all the way down there. We'd get there 9:30, somewhere around there, unload our stuff, play from 10 to 2, get up the next day. So it'd be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Every day we would play 3 shifts. We'd do 11 to 2, 2 to 6, take 6 to 10 off, play 10 to 2.
Wow.
For like 4 days in a row. And it really wasn't the music that would get to you, or the running out of material or songs, because people, it's different sets of people every night, so they're going to come in and request the same shit. Man, it was the drinking every day that you were up there that it would just kill me, man. I remember.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking though? That's hammering you like that.
Well, this was like when Fireball first came out, and I don't know who the marketing team for Fireball was, but
they were all over.
Dude, that's the team that you need to get to market anything, because they had Fireball. They had Fireball every fucking thing down there in Nashville, and another funny story. We were playing at Honky Tonk Central, and this is when it was very first open. So we were some of the first bands to ever get to sit up there and play, and they were still staffing the bar. They were still putting shot glasses in there, cups and stuff. It was crazy. This would be when you could still have shot glasses in Nashville. Now they don't do that anymore. So we would go, and people would say, if they wanted us to do a song, they would say, "We'll buy you a shot." Okay, okay, that's fine, whatever, we do it. And then all of a sudden, the shot glasses would line up at the bar. The bar would get full, and the bartender would get out of shot glasses. So she would just take a bucket of ice and a bottle of Fireball. She'd be like, "When you guys want to take a shot, just drink it out of the bottle, man. We need all these glasses." And she would come and grab up all of our glasses. And it was, that's just how it went. When we were playing music down there, but it was really like the down times, that little bit of a window, that 6 to 10 that we got to take off, that we got to be down right in the thick of it on Broadway, got to walk behind the Ryman, go to the barbecue joint right there, and just being down there. That was some of our funnest times, me and the band being all together. And we never split up after we got off stage. It wasn't like, you go your way, I go mine. We literally all stuck together because we were all like outsiders. You were looking for
a place to stay.
Yeah, we're like, we would go down and we just wanted to go somewhere and chill and not be half fucked up, by the time we got back to the gig. And we didn't really want to leave too far off of Broadway, because we put all of our stuff in that, either our next gig, wherever we would play, wherever it would be, or we would leave it in my van. And, that would have crippled us if we would have lost a guitar or a drum head, or anything, something, really.
Anything.
Yeah, it would have just taken us.
Key, something crazy.
It would have shut us down big time, man. That was just that was something that we didn't want to happen, and we saw it to happen. A lot of other people, a lot of those guys that were on the road, running down the road with a trailer, and throw all their gear in it, and then they get ready to go and it's gone.
Yep.
I would be devastated, man. Yep. I wouldn't even know what to do in that situation.
Well, yeah, that happens, unfortunately, and you see those posts sometimes on social media. Oh my God, we lost our stuff. It's like, it's infuriating. It's painful.
It is, and for the people that do that, they have no idea what they're even screwing with.
No, they're just gonna dump it somewhere quick.
Man, if I'd like to get a hold of them guys a few times. Phew.
Sure thing.
But
anything funny happened to you?
Oh man,
in your lifetime of music? Mr. Aaron Buckley.
Speaking of, I'm gonna Ron Dawson, man, and God love him, man. He's from New Jersey, so he's not like good old down home humor. You know what I mean? The dude is. He's
a serious East Coast guy.
East Coaster, man. He's wound tighter than a banjo string.
Musician?
Dude. Yes, he's a guitar player. Fantastic guitar player, and he does a lot of other stuff too, but. The very first time that I had hired him to come down and play a gig, I was playing with this guy named George Redder, who was a drummer, and Jimmy Daniels, who was a bass player. And he had played with a lot of older guys, I think like Mel McDaniels or something. Something crazy big on the road with him. So he was an Ohio boy. I come down and I had hired another guy to play lap steel. And he was kind of dogging me. First couple times he would show up 20 minutes, 30 minutes late. And I just was like, dude, you're going to make me lose my mind if you show up late. You're making me late. You're my lead guy. I need that. So Ron shows up to a little barn. Oh, it's a pretty decent sized barn, pole barn, out in Waverly, Ohio. It was called Ackard's Pizza. And Ron shows up on time, and George and Jimmy are the ones that met this guy, and they were like, dude, you gotta tell this guy to come out here and play. He's like, this guy can really play, man. He's a great player. He's what we need. So I said, okay. I called him up, and they gave me his phone number on inside of a cigarette pack. They wrote his phone number down on inside of a Marlboro light pack and gave it to me. So I called him up that day. It was the day of a gig, Friday night. I'm like, hey, man, anyway, you can come down and play some guitar. Me and George and Jimmy. He's like, sure, give me the address. So he shows up. We get all unloaded, and the lap steel player shows up like 20 minutes late. We're getting ready to play the first song, and the dude starts walking through the door. I told him, I was like, dude, I'm docking your pay for that. You know?
What location is this happening? Is it
Ackerd's Pizza? This was in Waverly.
Oh, Waverly. You just said that. Yeah.
So the dude shows up late, and we get up there and we play a set. This is the very first time I've ever talked to Ron. I've ever met Ron. I never shook the dude's hand. I never anything. So I get done with the first set. We walk out the door, and this lady follows us out, and she was like, "Hey, whatever song that was that you just played, it was my favorite song." And when she said favorite, she spit her tooth out of her mouth, and it hit me in the chest, and it bounced down, and it fell on everything on the ground, and it was like everything was all chipped up, white painted concrete, so everything looked like a tooth, and I couldn't find it. Like normally I'd be like, oh, there it is, you know, bam. It was like, and she grabbed my arm and was like, dude, you got to help me find this. I've lost like 3 of these things. I'm like, oh, hell no. So, and I really did try to help her find it for like 10 minutes, right? And Ron pretty much like bailed on me. As soon as she spit the tooth out, he was like, "Oh, whoa.
I'm out."
Yeah, he's like, "No." Walked straight back as he flipped the cigarette out and walked straight back inside. So finally the fiddle player came out and was like, "Man, you got to come in here and play, dude. We got time to be out there messing with that." I'm like, "Okay." So we walk back in, play another set, and then the lady that lost her tooth just came in and sat down right in front of us, and she was sitting at the picnic table, smiling like a motherfucker, man. Never even know that she was missing a tooth, man. I mean, drinking beer, not even caring, laughing. So, we had a couple more sets, and then on the last one, George's wife came back in from outside, and she walks up to me, and she was like, "Hey, Aaron, I found this tooth outside."
No way.
I swear to God. And I was like, "Oh my God, how'd you see that, man?" And she was like, "It was shiny."
Haystack.
Yeah, I was like, "Dude, everything looked like a tooth that was on the ground." I'm like, "Man, where is this tooth?" So she comes up, and I give it to the lady. I walk straight over, and I'm like, "I know whose that is." I go up to her and I hand her the tooth, and she grabbed it right out of my hand and didn't wash it off, nothing, man. She slammed that thing right in there, and she was like, "Who do I owe beer to?" I said, "You better want to go get one for George's wife." And George's wife was fucking hammered, by the way. I don't even know how she found this thing. I don't know how she found her way back into the bar after that.
Did she take her up on a new drink, though?
Oh, yeah. She definitely had the beer. We were tearing down. And we were so far out in the country, man. I mean,
Waverly is not a big town.
It is not a big town.
And had a school age friend of mine who was from Waverly, loved Waverly, Ohio.
We actually got the chance to play at the Emmett House in Waverly, Ohio, which was like a really cool old. It was definitely historic. It was like back in the Underground Railroad days, and it was like a Prohibition era bootleg whiskey place, and it was definitely creepy, like old school creepy haunted type of shit, you know. But we did get the chance to play there. They had their little festival or whatever. That was like they shut their little main drag of the town down by the bank and in front of the Emmett House. And that was the first time that I guess my fiddle player, that was the first time that she'd ever heard of goat shit bingo in Waverly, Ohio. That was 2 things that happened in Waverly. And you ever heard of that?
No, man, no.
Yeah, so they paint all these squares in the middle of the road, and then they put this goat out there, and wherever the goat shits, that's your bingo. Like, that's what you hit the number that it shit on, and that's on your card. And people try to scare it. I mean, people try to feed it a bunch of shit. Dude, it's the funniest thing you've ever seen. You gotta do some more living, man.
You're right.
You got to see something like that, man.
Maybe we'll road trip down sometime, man. You know,
down to Waverly.
Waverly, Ohio.
Dude.
There's some good stuff there.
There is.
And I have some other friends that are from Waverly area. That's good stuff.
Yeah, man. You got to stop at You got to stop at the Quick Stop down there. That's what it is. It's the big yellow gas station, and get you a Slurpee, man. Put some bourbon in it.
Do they sell the bourbon at the same place?
Yeah, I mean, dude, they sell everything there. I mean, everything. And on the way down, like if you blow on past that, they have the. It's not a gas station, but it's like you can fill up a propane tank. And it says beer and ammo on the side of it. That's what it says. On 23. I'm
Sounds
pretty
like
sure.
fun.
Oh, dude, you got to get down there and explore.
Beer and ammo.
It's a state of mind down there, man.
I can't wait.
Definitely.
I can't wait.
Definitely.
Oh, man. Well, Aaron, this is episode 20. You're more than welcome to come back and do another episode sometime, man.
I would love
it's
that.
It's going to be great.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go.
Sit here, talk. I could drink beer. I could drink Busch Light.
Yeah.
All night and listen to these, because I think you have a lot more stories to share. I don't have that much time on the clock. I got maybe 10 minutes.
Oh, man. Well, let's keep it short and sweet. I would like to hit, like I said, October the 7th. We're going to be down. Maybe it's October the 8th. It might be October the 8th. Whatever that Saturday is, if it's the 7th or if it's the 8th. We're going to be down in Washington Courthouse for the Gary and Tristan benefit. And that would be a really cool time if I could really get people to come down there and donate their time and their support and a few dollars to help these kids out to get them all of the treatment stuff that they need. Because, I mean, these kids are cool as Christmas, man. They don't get any cooler than this. And they're in a really unfortunate spot. And I'm trying to do anything that I can as far as getting the word out there to get people down there to donate. And there's a lot of cool raffle items. They have food trucks. There's a ride, and that's all going to be posted on the Facebook page on how you can get a hold of tickets to get out there to do that. And then other than that, we're going to be down back at 62 with the Buckley Shot band instead of Buckshot's Buckley Shot. When I play with them,
I like that.
I didn't come up with that either. That was Tom Bloomer that came up with that one. So we'll be down there on a few Wednesdays, couple more Wednesdays, and then we're going to be doing a lot of solo stuff. I'll be doing, and Lynn, I don't know how you do it. I don't book months and months and months in advance. Somebody will call me on a Tuesday and say, "Hey, man, I want you to come down here and play on a Friday," and that's how it gets skipped. That I don't take the time and on Tuesday night and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm playing down here last minute." I don't ever do that. I think it's more of a surprise if you just show up and I'm there.
That's cool.
And you didn't plan for it.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, definitely, we'll post in your episode details a couple of these links to stay in touch with you, Aaron Buckley. We know you now a little bit better, which is the whole point of these podcast episodes. He said, "Hey, what are we going to do?" I'm like, "We're going to talk about Aaron Buckley."
Well, man,
that's what we did, man.
if I'd have known that all we were going to be doing was sitting down here with headphones on, drinking beer, and talking to shit, man, I would have been. You could have called me a long time ago to do this. Come on, man.
I did.
Did you?
I saw you at a bar in Columbus downtown. I think it was the Red. Was it Red?
Oh, the Red Brick.
Red Brick.
Yeah, German Village.
Yeah, and I was just launching this in February. But
that's right. You did say.
So then I did finally text you, but again, like I got booked. I mean, it's been 1 to 3 a week, and I got that all booked. But I landed you, so to speak, to
in
come
February.
out.
Yeah, that's right.
February, March.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I do remember that.
Trying to put all this together and without spending a lot of money, which I spent a little bit of money here, but.
You know what? I think it's all the way worth it. Look at this. This setup is professional. It's nice. And dude, this is such an easy going thing.
Done.
Yes, it's going. It's
interesting too. I mean, I loved talking to you today, man. I just loved it, and I have the similar experience. Everyone's different. Everyone's got different inspirations and influences and circumstances and desires, and it's just a lot of fun, man, just doing a podcast. And the cool thing is this will be saved out there long when we're gone.
We're dead and gone. People will be podcasting in outer
Aaron
space.
Buckley podcast episode. The first one of hopefully several for you.
Anytime
if
you
not
want
many.
me to come down and podcast, if I'm not booked, buddy, I'll be here.
We'll make the time.
That's right. We can have Angelo pick us up a 30 rack of Busch Light and be like, dude, this one's going to be the 2-hour get down.
It'd be nice if Angelo joined us. I think.
I think it would be.
I don't think he's permitted for the job, but it's all good. Man.
I know, but dude, that
Angelo's
would be cool.
great.
He was a really nice guy. And Len, thank you so much for having me on. It was good talking to you. You have a beautiful place up here, and it's always good to see you guys.
Oh, absolutely, man. Thank you.
Always good.
Appreciate your time. All right, that's episode 20 of Columbus Local Podcast. Thank you all for listening, and have a great night. Bye-bye.